Welcome to exercise 3, where we're going to explore some operators. And in addition, we're going to combine it with some of the stuff that we've learned in the previous exercises, so they'll help prepare you when you move on to the lab. I have opened up Text Wrangler, which is my web editor, instead of Dreamweaver. If you want to use Dreamweaver, that's fine. Either one works. And what I did is I opened up my shirt inventory arrays from the previous exercise. Actually, it was probably just called arrays. So I've opened this up. This should be identical to what we had from the prior one. And now we're going to take some of this information and we are going to add some operators to it to do some calculating for us. So what we're going to do is at the end of each of these echo statements, we're going to add another piece that's going to say subtract the number sold from the number that is in stock and give us what we have on hand. So before we do that, I'm going to set up another array, and the reason being is this one here is not going to allow us to do the addition and subtraction because we have it combined as the alphabetical piece and numerics all in that same array. So our code is kind of treating this all as strings versus numerics. So I'm going to create a new variable and I'm going to call this one subtract because that's what we're going to do with it. And this one's going to be an array as well, but it's not going to be a complex array like the one above it or a two-dimensional array. And all I need is my values out of this, but I'm going to pull it based on variables. So what I'm going to do is the first item is going to be size, and I'm going to pull from the first row up here, which if you recall is row 0, and then the second number, which is 1 because we start at 0, so 0, 1, and then I'm going to put a comma, and I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to do the same thing for each of my numbers. So I'm going to do $size, and we're still in the first row because there's a second number there, and 2. Now we're on to the next row. It'll be 1, and I need this, so 0, 1, and the next number, which we're still in that row, and 2. This will all make sense as to what I'm doing. And now we're on to the third row. We're looking at the large. So since we go 0, 1, 2, this is 2, and we're looking for this number. Okay, now we're looking for, let's see, so we've got 2 in the 1 space, comma, and the last one. And we're in 2 and 2. I will close my array with the parenthesis and the semicolon. So in this array, this basically, if you were to read it, it would say 4, 10, 7, 6, 12, and 3. But the reason I'm doing it this way is what if we want to change these values? I'd have to go and re-enter this. This way I don't have to. So I'm just going to save this. I'm going to do a file save as because I don't want to save over this. And I'm going to save this one and call it, I'm going to call this one operators. Save that. And now I need to add something to the end of each of these echo statements. So I'm going to go, if you remember, this goes shirt size, small, then there's a line break, and then it says in stock, and it would say 4, then there's another line break, and then it says the number sold, 10, and then that's the end. We need to put in another line break here. Okay, what I did here, the screen is going to be changed, is I needed to get it to wrap, otherwise this was going to keep going off the page. And so I want you to be able to see what's going on within our screen. So I've got number sold, size, there's that line break that I just added. Now we need to add the next piece to this. So on our next row, we are going to say quantity available. And then we'll put a colon, and then we're going to put our space, and we're going to concatenate. So remember, that was one of our operators, and this is already filled with concatenation. We've been doing it right here and here, and we're separating out our variables from the stuff that we want to display. So in this case, I'm going to go in, I've got my first quote, period, and I am going to do space, and I need to put a parenthesis here because this is going to tell it what to do. And I'm just going to open and close my parenthesis. In between it, I'm going to put what number is subtracting from what. So if we remember right, this first number, which is this number, is what we have in stock. So I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to do $subtract, because that's the variable I'm pulling from. And then I got a square bracket, and because this is just a single array, I want the first value. All I want is this value right here. So that's my first value. Subtract the second value. So it should be 4 minus 10. And if you think about what that is, minus 6, then this is doing this correctly. So I'm gonna, okay, there's my parenthesis that's closed. I need to concatenate this again, so a period and my quotation, and now this is nice and closed up. So here is my first statement. I have created this operator in here that is subtracting these items. So I'm gonna do a save. I'm gonna go out to my FileZilla. I'm gonna do a refresh on this side, and I'm going to upload this file. Now I'm going to go out to my browser, and here's my page. Now remember, this stuff is going to display as well. This was in the second couple lines of code that we echoed from the previous arrays exercise. But now in this one, we've actually used the operator to subtract some things. We're saying quantity available. So in this case, we're saying we have, in our shirts that are size small, we have 4 in stock, we've sold 10, so we must have had to back order some, and then therefore the quantity that we have available is minus 6. Let's go back and do the same thing for the next 2. So what we did is we have all of our arrays set up, so what I'm going to do is copy this from the BR that I added all the way to the quotation marks from that one, and I'm going to copy it. And I am going to come right in between, so you can see it, between this quotation and this paragraph closing tag, and I'm going to paste. So now we have quantity available, but now I don't need subtract 0 from 1. I'm looking for the next group. I need 7 from 6. So that's in places 2, so 0, 1, 2, minus 3, and that's it for that one, and I'm going to do the same thing on the next. And instead of 2 and 3, it's places 4 and 5. And we know this is correct because we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that holds 6 places. So let's figure out ahead of time what our math is. This size medium, we say we have 7 on hand, we sold 6. So the number that we have available, the quantity available, should be 1. Second one, the large, we said we have 12 on hand and we sold 3, so we should have 9. So let's just double check our math. I'm going to save this, go out to FileZilla, upload, go out to my browser, and refresh. And there it is. In stock, we have 7, we sold 6, we have 1. Size large, in stock we have 12, sold 3, and 9. Let's just do one more thing. I'm going to echo one more line before my closing PHP. So I'm going to go put some more spaces here. We're going to type in echo, and we're going to open up a paragraph tag, and we are going to say total number of shirts available, all sizes. So now we're going to play around with some precedence. So what we're going to do, I need to concatenate this, is we are going to do the number from up here. I'm going to just copy this. Oh, make sure we get rid of that. So that's our first, and then I'm going to put a plus, a space, And then we're going to grab the second one. And after my plus, we'll paste that. And another plus. And the last one. So I'm going to copy that and paste that in. So now what it's doing here is it's saying in space 0 minus 1, so 4 minus 10 is minus 6, plus whatever the value of this one is, plus whatever the value of this one is, and come up with our grand total. And I'm thinking I'm going to need some parentheses at the beginning and the very end to wrap around this whole thing to demonstrate that this is our entire equation, and it will just display our final value. So I'm going to concatenate one last time, and we're going to close this paragraph and my semicolon. Should we see if it worked? I'm going to do a file save, go and upload it, go out to our browser, and refresh. Oh no, what happened? Our page is blank. So that means we need to troubleshoot. A white page means that there's something broken in our PHP. So let's go back and take a look. We know it happened when we added this last statement. It was working up until then. So let's go take a look. So I'm guessing it's in our concatenation. It could be in our mathematic equations, but let's take a look. So we open up our quotes, we go over here, we close our quotes. Oh, we don't have a period here. That might be our problem. So let's just keep going and see if we find anything else. So then we have our opening parenthesis for the whole thing, which is all of this. And then we have the parentheses that wrap around just this. So this one is our first equation. We add it to the second equation, and we add it to the result of the third equation. And we have a period. Okay, my guess is it's this period. So I'm going to save this again, and I'm going to go back out to FileZilla. I'm going to re-upload this file. Then I'm going to go back out to my browser, and I'm going to click refresh. It was that period. So be really careful when you're concatenating that they are all there in their places. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So now let's check our math. Up here we said that this quantity was minus 6. This one is 1 and this one is 9. So let's just look at this and say, okay, we have 10 shirts that are actually available and we're back ordered by 6. So if we add all three of these numbers together, we get 4. Look at that. Now the reason I did this as an array of the prior variable is because what if I want to change these numbers? It would mean I'd have to go in and change this every time. So now let's say we got some new stock in of our small shirts. And so now say we have 20 of those, but we've also sold, we've sold a few out of this new stock. So we're going to sell 6. And say we just got a couple of these. So now we went from 9. Maybe we had a big run on these, so we sold, oh, well, that's not a big run. Let's say we sold 20 of those. And then our larges, we had plenty there, but we've sold a few more. So I'm going to just up this number and change it to 7. But I'm not changing anything in the rest of this. So let's go save this, and I'm going to go upload it. I'm going to go back to my browser. I'm going to refresh. All right, so we know that it worked because here are our new numbers. Let's see. Let's just verify. 14 and 5. That's 19 minus 11, so we have 8. Okay, so we know that it worked because now these are our updated numbers, and it's done all of this math, and all we changed were these numbers right here. The rest of this stayed the same. That's the cool thing about arrays and variables that hold certain values, is then we can use this formula over and over and over again to run the information that we need. So that was that final exercise, and hopefully between this and the variables and the arrays exercise that you should be able to figure out the lab for this week.